Ready. Play.
Novak Djokovic coming up against Lorenzo Musetti. And by the way, I'm just going to interject at this point, all of these matches that we're previewing right now are going to be live on the channel on watch-alongs tomorrow. Even though they may be happening simultaneously and over the top of each other and whatever, overlapping, they will all be on the channel, including this one, which is Novak Djokovic against Lorenzo Musetti. Djokovic has not dropped a set en route to the final. There was a round of 16 clash against Tabilo, then it was Borges, and then today Hanfmann. There was a little wobble in the second set against Hanfmann today when Djokovic was down a break, but then broke in consecutive games and then eventually served it out. Up against Lorenzo, it's a matchup, by the way, where Djokovic has an 8-1 head-to-head advantage. Djokovic, of course, is not quite committed 100% for the ATP Tour Finals, but honestly, unless he gets really beaten up tomorrow or injured, beaten up injured, by the way. If he loses love and one, I still think we'll see him in Turin. But I think something physically really not good tomorrow would have to happen for Novak not to travel to Turin. I think he quite likes the continuous tennis. We've seen it a lot pre-French Open where he'll take a run up with a tournament in the build-up, and I think he feels the same. I also think that, he looked at Athens as being listen, I've got, before even a ball was hit, I've got like a 60 or 70% chance of winning this title, given that it's a 250. And yet I've probably got a 20% chance in Turin. So let's go all in for Athens, see where we end up, and see you in Turin as well. What are your thoughts on Novak throughout this tournament, looking forward, and also his matchup with Lorenzo?
Yeah, this is really interesting, John. We have this case where if Djokovic wins, he's obviously very likely to go to Turin, and that will mean Felix Auger-Aliassime will join him.
Oh, yeah,
But if he loses, or Musetti wins, Musetti and Djokovic will both be taking the trip to Turin, likely. A little bit about this tournament, just like as we talked about earlier in the week, like super interesting, first time tournament in Athens, Djokovic's brother being the tournament director. And it's, like you said, it is essentially just a lead up to Turin. Talking about, I'll do a quick little anecdote on Paris in terms of how they plan to make the courts similar to Turin, and that wasn't the case. It was, significantly slower. Whereas I feel like this surface in Athens is actually a lot more similar to Turin in terms of pace, low bouncing, and they actually use the ATP Dunlop balls, which are the same ones as they use in Turin. So not to say that lined up on purpose, but maybe a little coincidence, but it also it does play into Djokovic and I guess Musetti's favor as they do try and prepare for Turin. But getting back to the match, Djokovic has been fine, kind of what we expected. Gotten everything done in straight sets, as you mentioned. So there's nothing like glaring for me. It's really just about kind of controlling the tempo as he does. Musetti is someone who wants to extend these rallies, and I think Djokovic is going to recognize that, stand a little bit tighter to the baseline, and look to get as much angle as he could. Today against Korda, it was very interesting to see him climb back into the match. Obviously, Korda is just like a very beautiful ball striker and can change directions very easily with pace. Djokovic a little bit more methodical, but does that at a higher level. So Musetti wasn't finding much success, and obviously, tip my cap to Musetti because he obviously went through a lot emotionally in that match, but the serving was so important when he needed it. That kind of got him out of jams. So interesting matchup, and obviously an interesting head-to-head and circumstance.
One win for Musetti, and that came on the clay in Monte Carlo. By the way, just for those wondering about the groups at the ATP Finals, as I think I'm showing now on the screen, you can see that Djokovic is in a group with Alcaraz, Fritz, and De Minaur. The reason why I think it's kind of funny is because Musetti, in my opinion, has little to no chance of getting out of the group that he's in. It's obviously the other group with Sinner and Zverev and Shelton. And yet, I think if Felix qualifies, I think he's got something around about 50-50. He's got a chance, anyway, of qualifying probably alongside Jannik. So the reason I'm mentioning it is just because if Novak had Musetti in his group, it might even be beneficial for him to lose today, not give too many clues away, and then boom, next week beat Musetti in Turin. But that is not a scenario. So, yeah, the other thing, though, when it comes to Musetti, not won a title since 2022. And there's been some painful losses as well in there, none more so than recently in the Asian swing in a 252 to Tabilo in a final. Tabilo, of course, is a player that Djokovic has beaten en route to the final here. So what are we thinking in terms of predicting this outcome? Oh, but just before we do, actually, I just want to quickly highlight Musetti's run to the final, which has been a lot more interesting and a bit more of a roller coaster than Novak's, who's pretty much serenely proceeded to the final. We see that Wawrinka match, very tight, that second set. Could have gone either way, that tiebreaker, and probably took that momentum into the third set. A bit more comfortable against Muller, but again, a roller coaster day. Bagels, Korda, loses the second set 7-5. A third set, nip and tuck, and yeah, here we are. Anyway, anything you want to add to Musetti's run, or just get straight into a prediction? Up to you, Brenner.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add is what concerns me is the Musetti kind of mentality. I know how much he believes in himself, and we understand he knows his game so well and he sticks to it. But I think one thing comes to mind: serving. I think about that match versus Pesci Pericard, and was it Souls? Yeah, where he has a chance to take the second set. And obviously, all of this is in the build-up to turn, right? He needs every point possible, and he gets that point and double faults twice in a row, and essentially hands GMP the match. We saw some of that today, and that's something that concerns me a bit, given that you're going up against Djokovic in a final with essentially a home crowd. I think that could, I think that could pay some dividends, especially when he is serving.
I mean, the mental side and also against Novak has been a case for 4.5 years. I actually spoke to Lorenzo last year. It was a good interview out there on the Talking Tennis channel. So do check that out, that I did with him a year ago. And we reflected on the Novak match in the French Open of 2021, arguably a breakout match in so many ways for Lorenzo. Goes up 2 sets to love and then wins one game across the next 3 sets before retiring. Anyway, we talked a bit about that and do check out that video. But yeah, again, that day, it didn't feel as though he was quite ready when the momentum swung against him to dig deep and get things back on track in that match. And then the 3 matches they've played on a hard court, 2 outdoors, 1 indoor, he's barely laid a glove on Novak, losing all 6 sets across those hard court matches. And to be honest with you, I think we're going to see the same tomorrow. I'm going for Novak in straights.
I will as well.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.